to another episode of Talking with Topher. This is episode 246. It is December 19th, 2024. And as always, I am so glad to see so many of you coming back for more. Before I get into anything today, let me start off the way I always do by saying thank you to all of my subscribers. You're what keeps the channel going. I love the support, and I greatly appreciate it. If you are new to the podcast, remember to subscribe. If you want your opportunity to be on the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. And then, of course, don't forget about the Linktree link. It's in the description below the video. It's where you find everything TwT. It's just that easy. And now with all that out of the way, let's get into today's podcast. There is a lot going on, and I have a ton of stuff to do, but I am very excited today because I got to go to jiu-jitsu again, and I wasn't going to go. I think this is one of the main struggles a lot of people have. You know, you get up and you want to go and do something, or you told yourself the night before you were going to go and do this thing, whatever it happens to be, whatever obligation you've tied yourself to, and then we wake up and you're tired and unmotivated and you're like, I don't know if I really want to do this. And that's exactly how I felt this morning, but I pushed through that tiredness. I took care of everything I had to take care of. I drove myself down to Professional Martial Arts Academy this morning, and it was literally the best thing for me. It was the best. I feel awake, I feel alive, and I feel amazing because I pushed myself. I pushed myself to the point where I didn't want to do something I told myself that I was going to do, and then I did it. And that is so rewarding. So if you ever find yourself in that predicament, do not listen to yourself. No, that's my advice. Don't listen to yourself. Push through that feeling of not wanting to and just do it, because once you get there and you do it, that's when you feel this amazing feeling of reward. And that's what I'm feeling now. On another front here, things have gotten a lot better now that I have a job and I am working. I just got a full paycheck, and I will have to say that I'm very, very excited for the future. Hey, yeah, when you don't know, it's scary. You worry about it. You wonder if you're making that right decision. Did this all happen for a good reason? I don't know. I don't know if it was a good reason, but it happened. I got in front of it, and now it's turning out to it's looking like it's going to be better for me mentally, physically, and financially. So maybe in reality, where I was not where I was supposed to be. And that's why I was so unhappy. Just for fun, I want to let all of you in on it because I thought this was great. And I hope they're still listening. But a small story. Sorry that I'm laughing. I just find this to be so fucking funny. So for all of you out there, there is a couple new ones popping open, right? I don't want to say the name. I don't want to do that. But they have a new one opening in Bedford, and I saw that they wanted a manager. So me being me, I was like, well, that's kind of what I was making, right? So I was like, fuck it, I'll put in for that, right? And I called one of my old trainers, and he was like, yeah, dude, I'll put in a good word for you. He texted me back, and he was like, I'm sorry, bro, but this is out of my hands. And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, you've been blackballed. You can't be hired. And I was like, really? That's crazy. Why can't I be hired? I didn't do anything wrong, right? And he's like, yeah, this is out of my hands. It looks like they listened to your podcast. And they did not like what they heard. So you are no longer allowed to work for the company. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. They listened to my podcast. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it. And you know what? You not allowing me to come back to the company is probably the best thing for me ever. So again, it doesn't help to hold grudges. It doesn't help to be angry and upset and be like, I'm going to get this person back. I just kind of pushed through it all, did what was necessary to make sure that nothing happens to my family or my house or my living or my money, whatever. But I took care of all that. And that makes me feel better too, because now it's all in my hands again. I have control over the full situation. This company that I'm working for now, I absolutely am having a blast. I know it's only been 2.5 weeks, but I'm having a blast, everybody. I'm learning something new. I'm in sales. I'm just loving what I'm doing. And I think since this is something I did 12 years ago that I really, really did enjoy, but 12 years ago, it wasn't enough money, and I was also an installer, not a seller. Now, I'm not going to get into where I'm working or what I'm doing because I do want to get through my training, and I do want to get into the store that I'm going to be at before I tell everybody what I'm doing. But I'm having a lot of fun. I just found out that this is going to be okay, and we are going to be okay. We might even be able to enjoy Christmas, which is amazing. Because you worry about all this stuff at my age. You worry about whether or not you can pull things off. Am I going to financially put myself in debt just to make it look like, we can pull off Christmas? And I think Christmas was set up to build up the corporations, and it's just all a gimmick to keep this commercialism alive. I don't think Christmas is an actual thing. Maybe one time, maybe at one point in time, it actually did mean something else, but not today. Not today. Don't believe it. And that brings me to a few things that I want to get into because we got some crazy stuff going on. So I'm just going to mosey on over to the monitor here, and we're going to get into Topher's topics. All right, so my first topic here is what's next for TikTok. Now the app might get banned. So they're threatening to ban TikTok again. Oh no, poor TikTok. They have to sell the company over in order to make this go away. They want a US-based TikTok. They don't want it out of China anymore, but they were threatening this before. They couldn't pull it off for some weird reason, and now all of a sudden the delays and all the complications that were stopping them from banning it are now going away, or the time has lapsed. I don't know. But they are planning on banning TikTok again. So let's watch the video.
The most popular social media app among young Americans.
This feels insane.
One step closer to being banned.
The TikTok ban is official right now, y'all.
Friday, a U.S. appeals court upheld a law requiring TikTok be sold by January 19th or become outlawed in the United States. It's over concerns the app's Chinese-owned parent company, ByteDance, could give Americans' data to the Chinese government.
TikTok is a gun aimed at Americans' heads.
TikTok says it doesn't share Americans' data with Beijing, and this fight isn't over.
The only hope is the Supreme Court.
That's where TikTok told us they're taking the challenge next, saying the ban was passed on inaccurate, flawed, and hypothetical information, and unless stopped, will silence the voices of over 170 million Americans. The lower court rejected TikTok's First Amendment argument, writing lawmakers protected Americans' free speech rights by limiting China's ability to gather data on people in the United States, stating bluntly, unless ByteDance finds a sales partner for TikTok by January 19th, it's, quote, millions of users will need to find alternative media of communication.
Well, then we need to make something better or equal to TikTok then. Look, these companies are, well, I don't like TikTok. I personally do not like it. I post on there all the time, and I have to say at least once a week they tear down something that I've said because it's offensive or it's misinformation or it's this or it's whatever they say that it is. But then I'm flipping through and I'm watching people get crushed by cars. I'm watching some transgender person show you how to bleach their asshole. Like, all these things that are allowed to be out there, like Instagram and all, you go down the rabbit holes of some of these social media platforms and you just see chaos. And they're like, oh, well, you spoke about aliens being reptiles, so we have to take down your video or we have to take down your post because that's misinformation. And it's like, wait a minute, why is that being taken down when you have people getting murdered or war videos of Ukrainians taking out Russians or whatever it happens to be? The videos are crazy today. We've never seen anything like it. And that's okay. That's okay. But what I say is not okay. So as far as I'm concerned, fine, ban TikTok. It'll be one less thing I have to do in the morning or post to. But I know there's millions of you that stupidly get your news from there and you get your information from it and you love the videos and the interaction, and that's fine. Go ahead. Enjoy it. I love like Christina P's TikTok curations. You know, she gets the darkest of the dark, and like half of the stuff that you see that she plays on your mom's house, you're like, wait a minute, I post stuff that's not even close to as bad as that, but that's allowed to cycle through and not get taken down. But my stuff always gets taken down for speech. I don't even do anything crazy on this stupid thing. Like, I'm not going to do weird things. You know what I mean? It's like, but they changed the thing to say it's educational. Well, I don't think anybody needs to know how to bleach themselves. I don't think anybody needs to know half of the stuff that's on there. But if they ban this, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because they're keeping them out. If Russia just put tariffs on China and now is helping North Korea acquire weapons, you're like, oh, okay. So, I mean, why are they putting tariffs on China? Because China's not helping them, right? And China's never going to help us. If anything, they want to use all the information against us and tear us down. I think that's what every country in the world wants to do to America. They want us to fail. And we can't let that happen. So the TikTok ban, I don't think is going to be, I don't even think it's going to happen, everybody. I mean, the Supreme Court just turned down the Onion from buying InfoWars. So sometimes the Supreme Court does work in people's defense, but do I actually think they're going to ban TikTok? I don't. This was wild to me. So this is a ghost river. And I guess this thing returned after 130 years of not being seen. If it's been 130 years since it's been seen, so you knew it existed, why would you build a road? Look at this. That's a road, everybody. That is a road being engulfed in this massive, that it looks like a goddamn ocean. It doesn't look like a river. I guess I would have to see an aerial view of it. This picture was taken on 12/03 of 2024, so December 3rd. For the first time in about 130 years, Tulare Lake reappeared in California's San Juan Valley, stirring both wonder and concern among locals and experts alike as it submerged almost 100,000 acres of privately owned farmland. Now, that is awful because that farmland's probably ruined, right? Or whatever you had in that farmland that it's a good thing, I guess, that it's this time of year that it's happening because we don't have anything planted. There's no, right? It's winter. It's still winter over there, right? But do things grow all year round? I'm an idiot. I don't know. But it seems like having that submerged underwater would ruin the farmland. Because, think about it. When a city gets flooded, the water is toxic. So if this river comes in, is that river water now toxic because all that farmland and all that dirt had all those chemicals in it, and now it's all throughout the water? So could it contaminate all of that farmland? I think there's a great possibility that it could. Let's see. Tulare Lake returns. Often dubbed the Ghost Lake, Tulare Lake vanished about 130 years ago due to extensive human intervention. But in the spring of 2023, after massive winter storms and significant snow melt from the Sierra Nevada, the lake roared back to life. The water overwhelmed human-made systems designed to drain the basin, submerging thousands of acres of fertile farmland that once produced pistachios, almonds, cotton, and safflower? The reborn lake stretches out with a seemingly endless blue horizon. Absolutely crazy. So I wonder how long it's going to be before that land comes back. Who knows? But again, this is another thing that has come back after 100 years. Actually, this one's 130. So you're like, okay, how many more things have happened over 100 years ago? Because I think we should brace ourselves for all of them, because it just keeps happening. Well, this hasn't happened in over 100 years. We haven't had storms like this in over 100 years. This lake has been gone for 130 years, and now it's back. So these all keep reoccurring, and I think we need to keep an open eye on anything else that is gone as far as this has, right? Because it's probably going to happen again. Really, really crazy. So our tap water is now contaminated. I think tap water has always been contaminated, which is why I only use it to do my laundry, take a shower, wash my dishes, and rinse. I never swallow when I'm brushing my teeth. I think tap water is one of the worst things that we could ever use, especially if you live in a city. If you have well water, you're probably a little bit better off. And if you have well water with filtration system, you're probably even better off. But here in Manchester, we have very hard water. Everything turns pink. It's a goddamn nightmare to clean everything all the time. And, oh, man, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's never fun. And as it accumulates in the pipes and in the shower head and everything else, it becomes worse and worse and worse, and then it just eats whatever it's going through, and you have to replace it every 5 to 6 years, and that is because of the hard water. And the only way for me to even remotely fix it would be to gut my entire house of all my old pipes, fix everything, and put in a filtration system from the time that the water comes into the house before it gets filtered through my system. And that would cost me thousands of dollars, I found out. So I am not going to do that. I'm going to keep changing my shower head and all my fixtures every 5 to 6 years and just kind of deal with it. But tap water found to contain a newly identified toxic chemical, Isn't that great, everybody? I don't even think I'm going to be able to say what it is. Understanding chloronitramide anion. Chloronitramide anion. This anemic substance dubbed chloronitramide anion is the offspring of chloramine, a chemical that ironically is used to treat water to make it safe for human consumption. It's a type of charged particle made up of chlorine and nitramide parts. Think of it like a tiny building block that has an extra negative charge, which makes it react differently compared to neutral molecules. This special charge allows it to connect with other molecules in unique ways, making it useful for certain chemical reactions. Chloramine is a concoction of chlorine and and ammonia that kills viruses and bacteria in water treatment systems, unlike plain chlorine. Chloramine doesn't disappear as quickly, so it provides longer lasting protection. Chloramine does a great job at disinfecting, and newly identified chloramide anion is produced when chloramine breaks down. So they put something in the water. This is what I'm getting from this, and we're going to move on from it because that's what I got to do. Got to move quickly. So this is my assumption, right? This is what I'm getting from this. So they put this stuff, chlorine and whatever, ammonia, into the system to keep the water clean and safe. It is now combined. There's so much of it that it's made this new chemical, and it's actually toxic to us. Oh, shocker, everybody. What? Something else that we all consume is toxic for us. Well. Where have I heard of this before? Oh, yeah, the entire food industry. I mean, everything that we ingest, everything that we do is toxic for us because of the simple fact that I believe they don't think this shit through. They're like, oh, we're going to give these animals antibiotics and this and that. And now we can't give them antibiotics anymore because they have a super one. And it's not affected by the antibiotics anymore, right? You're like, okay. And then we're going to do this and it's going to do this. And oh, shit, we went too far again. And now we can't come back from it, and there's nothing to protect us from it. Bird flu supposedly jumped to cows, and now we got to check all the milk. And you think that anything that we buy off the shelves today is actually good for us? I think milk is absolutely horrible for us. Our food pyramid was a lie when I was a kid. George Washington's teeth weren't wood, they were slaves' teeth. Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. He didn't even land here. I mean, this is just insane today to be figuring all this out in my mid-40s, to finally have the truth being told about everything is crazy to me. But you know what I really do believe is that RFK is not going to be able to fix this. Trump's not going to be able to fix this. Nobody's going to be able to fix this. Why? It's too late. It's too late. These corporations, these companies, and what they're doing to make a profit, to make their products last on our shelves longer and longer is more important than our health. You know, I said it a couple weeks ago. The pharmaceutical company is not really trying to keep us healthy or make us better. They want to make us feel better so that we always are sick. The food industry wants to make us sick. You just go down the line of everything. I mean, look at the CEO that was just shot. I don't know if I'm going to talk about it later or whatever, but because I can't remember what I already fucking preloaded. But this guy was protecting people that completely destroyed people's lives because he's one of the reasons why the insurance wasn't covering anything. He had a hand in helping these insurance companies not pay out. Now, did he have dirt on Pelosi? I don't know, but I believe he did. I believe there was something there. And I don't believe that the person that they captured, because as of now, they've captured the person that supposedly shot him. Now, did they catch somebody that may have had some ulterior motives? Yes, I do believe that because the information that he was spouting, the stuff that he was reading, and the amount of things that they found on him. I don't have all the details off the top of my head right now, but all of these things do line up to somebody who has a motive to kill people. And so therefore, I do believe they caught somebody with these intentions. But at the end of the day, I don't think it was the same person, because if you look at the video, the pictures from the bank where he's all masked up or wherever he was, Starbucks, and then you look at the picture without his mask on, you can fit either a finger or a thumb flattened between the eyes, and there was space in between the eyebrows. The person that they captured 2 days ago now, because this is actually December 11th. And so 2 days ago, they captured him, and the eyebrows, you couldn't even, barely sideways finger in between them. So, I mean, yes, sure. Am I grasping at straws? Maybe. But look at the pictures. Look at the pictures, and then look at the person that they caught, and compare the faces. The facial features don't even match up very well. So, at the end of the day, they are going to do whatever it takes to keep their secrets. They're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that they don't have to lose any money. They're going to make sure that they're constantly doing what they're doing. And unfortunately, this water situation, think about it. Like, maybe at one point in time when they added these chemicals to the water, it was okay and it wasn't dangerous levels. But like everybody flushing their damn medication down the toilet, you eventually poison the water source. So you needed to come up with a proper amount of these two chemicals to keep the water clean and safe, which I don't even think is possible with all the old pipes in the ground. And you needed to estimate the spread of that chemical and then the longevity of the chemical before you start adding more of the chemical. Because if the chemical lasts for years, well, then don't you think you should be like, oh, well, it's going to last for years and it's going to cycle through the water for a long time. We only need to add X amount per city per 5 years. And then that should give it enough time to dissipate, and then we can add more to it. But if you just keep adding it and adding it and adding it, well, it builds up, right? You get water that doesn't move, that probably has more of the chemical, and then it gets moved, so it pushes a whole bunch of the... I mean, there's all kinds of different variables of why the chemical would become toxic to this point. But my assumption is that they did not plan for the proper amount of these chemicals in the water and the dissipation of the chemical. I mean, did you test this before you started doing it? And if you did, where are the test results? What did it do to the water? How long did it stay in the water before you could add more and make it poisonous? Like, this is where I think we're kind of falling behind, because just like the vaccinations that went out 4 years ago, whatever it is now, they weren't tested properly. We just put them out there. Well, maybe they're doing the same thing with this water chemicals, these chemicals in the water, and they didn't realize that this was going to be the outcome later on because they never tested it. And I think that's where everything is falling apart for us. So there is a giant iceberg that is now moving, and it hasn't moved in almost 30 years, I believe. So August 2011, you can see the iceberg here. March of 2022, it goes turning a corner. For some reason, it does a interesting zigzag there. This is where it lands in 2023. And now, November of 2023, it sat here. So, I mean, that's pretty incredible. This is the northward. So Iceberg A23A now now freely drifts northward towards warmer iceberg destroying waters. So I guess this iceberg is now moving, and if it moves into the warmer waters, it takes it takes the warmer waters to melt it, right? So If it melts, it adds water to our oceans, which therefore takes away from our coastlines. So this could have a devastating, devastating flooding impact on us. Now, it remained, let's see, the Iceberg, different than the one hit in the Carnival cruise, first broke away from the Fillicher ice shelf in Antarctica's southern Weddell Sea in 1986. But it quickly became lodged in the seabed sediment, similar to the Ghost Forest, held in place by a 350-meter deep ice keel anchor. So that means that the iceberg is kind of looks like it's flat on top. Oh, wait a minute. Looks like it's flat on top, but underneath it, it's kind of tapered, or it's got a tapering, and that one met the ground, the bed of the sea, and it was stuck. And I guess with the warmer waters, that slowly starts melting, and it broke free from the ground. It remained there for over 3 decades. By 2020, it had melted enough to refloat and continue on its journey. However, scientists are currently unsure if A23A will end up, where it'll end up. Satellite measurements have shown that the iceberg has an average thickness of just over 900 feet and weighs under 1 trillion tons, making it twice the size of Greater London. So, I mean, this is just a small picture of the side of it, but this thing is moving again. Let me show you that picture. There it is. So you can see it right here, and it looks, this is the water moving, so it looks like it's going in that direction. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know, everybody. This could be crazy, but this thing has been sitting there for 30 years, and now it's moving. So I think we might... I mean, there's so much going on today. There's so much going on. I mean, the end of the world is right around the corner, according to, the bigger media monsters. So 3 Massachusetts bank tellers stole substantial sums of money from customer accounts, DA says. This is crazy, dude. People are getting hungry, man. I'm telling you. This is going to become a thing more and more and more because people are losing, and it is so hard to find a job. Trust me, I just did it myself. It took 4 weeks of really, really hard work and just calling, interviewing, and doing all the things. I'll tell everybody right now, if you are looking for a job today, it is going to be a job to find a job. So make it your job to find the job. Don't expect to just be able to sit back and a job is going to come to you. You need to go get it. So you have to make your job finding the job. Then once you get the job, then you can focus on perfecting the job and then doing what you need to do. But it is a job to find a job today. That is it. All right, so let's watch this video real quick. I mean, people are they're scrambling, everybody.
Bank tellers accused of using their jobs to steal tens of thousands of dollars from unsuspecting customers. Tonight, 2 are out on bail, a 3rd expected in court next week. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward live outside one of the impacted banks in Somerville to explain, Bob, how this scheme allegedly unfolded.
Well, Kerry, one of the former bank tellers worked right here at this Citizens branch in Winter Hill in Somerville, and authorities allege this teller worked with 2 other tellers at 2 other Citizens Bank branches to steal thousands of dollars from their own customers.
Wow.
According to police, the alleged scheme worked right out in the open at Citizens Bank branches in Somerville, Dorchester, and Milton. The money taken from the bank accounts of 8 individuals and 2 companies. In each case, the tellers completed unauthorized withdrawals for people who did not own the accounts. These are bank surveillance images of the actual transactions included in court records. Instead of following protocol and checking IDs, the tellers allegedly recorded each transaction as, quote, known customer. The people receiving the money, allegedly in on the scam. They have not been charged. The 3 citizens tellers facing charges are Yamali Moscot, Yoharis Suazo, and Angelica Morales. Morales told police Moscot recruited her into the scheme and instructed her on how to carry it out. In a statement to Boston 25 News, Citizens Bank says it has strong systems in place to root out bank fraud. The statement saying in part, quote, "We have robust security measures in place to monitor suspicious activity. As soon as we became aware of this incident, we addressed the matter immediately." 2 of the former tellers were arraigned today and charged with embezzlement and fraud. Bail was set for them at $1,000. The 3rd suspect is due in court next week.
Oh my God, dude. Oh, nobody's safe anywhere. We are going to get schemed and scammed and stolen from any chance they get. So you gotta be wary about the shit out there. I mean, I have gotten more calls on my phone and more text messages about suspended accounts. You got to give information to get your account open. You know, your taxes weren't paid, or you owe money here, or I mean, the emails and then the phone calls are insane today, everybody. They're insane. And they are all scams. They're all scams. Don't call them back. Block the numbers. Block the emails. Block the fucking text messages. Block it all. It's all scams. Anything that you read that says you owe money, or your account has been tampered with, or you need to click this link in order to unlock your account, those are all scams. Don't go and listen to those and click those. Go back to the actual website that they're saying. One, the government's never going to do it that way. The IRS is never going to do it that way. And any government thing that we do, your taxes and your car registrations and your fines and your DMV shit, all of it will only be done through them. I got a thing about my cryptocurrency, and it was like, if you don't go on, your account is going to be suspended. So I went on to MetaMask. And I clicked and I logged in, and I went through all my settings, and I went through the notifications, and guess what? My account's fine. Even after the date that they said it was going to be locked out and I would never get my your wallet's going to be destroyed. And I'm like, what? No, it was a scam. So, but I went to MetaMask to verify it. I talked to the customer service representative that represents MetaMask. And they were like, there is nothing. That pay no attention to that and do not click those links. So whenever you get something like that, pay attention, because at the end of the day, they're all scamming us. Everybody is trying to get your money. They're trying to get into your accounts, and they don't care. And guess what? To get your money back is almost impossible because you allowed it to happen. So when you allow it to happen, the bank is not responsible for it. So you have to be very careful. And that's the only advice I have from this. Now, to go into a bank to do these things and then to have them type it up as an unknown person, the people that were coming in were also in on the scam. So it's not like it was an unknown customer. It was somebody that they knew, but they opened up somebody else's account while they were in front of them. So they had to have been stealing numbers. They had to have been stealing some information in order to make this all happen. But at the end of the day, it's just another scam. It's just another scam. And it's too bad. It's too bad that we all have to be on edge and worried about our money constantly being stolen from us today. And it's getting worse and worse and worse as technology goes on, as they figure out more security for everything. The guys that are being stopped are figuring out how to bypass the new security. And they all are 1 to 2 steps ahead of the people implementing the security to stop them. They're like, no, we just did that. You just figured out how to stop it. I'm already on the next one. You know, and this is coming from all over the world. You know, half of these things, these phone calls and this other stuff that happens. I mean, these are happening in I don't even remember the countries' names, but they're happening across the world. But they're taking money from here in America. You know what I mean? So just be cautious to what you're clicking, what you're reading, and remember, if the government wants something from you, they're not sending you a text message or an email or giving you a phone call. Like, it's just not happening that way. It's not. I think at the end of the day, always keep in mind, if they want something from you or you owe them something, they will knock on your door. Like, you will get some type of official document from the government. You're not going to get a simple text message. I mean, yeah, I can register my car because I enabled my text messaging for registering my vehicles, but that is something that I enabled, right? I highlighted that. I was like, yes, I would rather do this than go down to town hall and pay my fees. So be mindful for today. I know most of the younger generation understands this, but unfortunately, I don't think they understand it fully. But it's the older generation out there. Anybody, older than me, my mom and dad, I think at this point, most of us in our mid-40s don't have grandparents left. If you do, that's amazing. But for the most part, they've all passed. But those are the people getting hurt the most, is the grandparents, because they don't understand this. They don't get it, and they think that everything that they see is real. Just like all the Facebook and Instagram ads, you have to be very careful with those too. Some of those are scams. I don't know how many things I've ordered and never received. Did I get my money back? Yes. But was it a battle? Also, yes. So police released photos in the search for the gunman who killed the United Healthcare CEO. All right, so I already told you that they caught him. I don't think it's the same guy, but to shoot down the CEO in broad daylight, this kid, I want to call him, he's 26. He's 26, so to me, still a kid, but I guess over 25, an adult. But, I mean, so much life ahead of him. Such a waste. But I guess he comes from a rich family who is in the medical industry somehow. I don't remember how. And he had a vendetta against everything that his parents basically stood for. And this guy, being the head of Medicare or whatever it is, health insurance, I'm not sure, but they had to, he was rebelling against them, which everybody's like, well, what, so shocked by it. Do any of you remember being young, and you remember your parents telling you what to do, what not to do, and you were like, when I grow up, I'm going to be nothing like you. I don't want to do anything like you do. I don't want to treat my kids the way you treated me. I want everything to be different. Well, that's exactly what he's doing. He's probably just rebelling against his parents, and he took it to the next level because, what was it? He was reading Unabomber, right? And the attacks that he made on all the government officials for over 17 years ago, he was reading that manifesto, and he was preaching about a lot of the stuff that the Unabomber was preaching, which, fits in. It fits in. It's everything that his parents are, right? So at the end of the day, I think of it as a kid rebelling against his parents who just took it a little bit further than necessary. But at the end of the day, still just a kid rebelling against his parents. And at the end of the day, really doing something that possibly, will shed light. Because, seriously, this guy was a scumbag. He was an absolute scumbag. He helped ruin people's lives, helped ruin people's financial situations, and he has helped ruin so many. And so I'm sorry. I'm not sympathetic for this guy. As far as I'm concerned, did he deserve to die? No, he didn't deserve to die, right? He deserved to get what was coming to him. And what was coming to him, I believe, was going to be lawsuits and being held up in court. And he was going to snitch on Pelosi to save his own ass because she is involved in this. She is evil, 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 evil. And I thought that it was somebody hired by Pelosi to kill him. And it turns out that this kid just was a rebel, was rebelling against his parents, the healthcare system, the insurance companies, and everything that they stood for. And he took it to the next level and figured out where this guy was and took him out. But at the end of the day, I'm still questioning if they have the right suspect. I think they don't. I think they don't. I think they got the wrong person, but they ended up catching somebody that was on the verge of doing something probably really bad. But I don't know. This thing goes deep, guys. It goes deep, everybody. And I don't know exactly what's right, what's wrong, but we've been lied to for so long. Think about it. I've been lied to my entire life. Everything I learned in school, everything that I've learned up until today, I'm finding out was a lie. So when you lie to me my entire life, how am I supposed to believe that you have the right guy, that this is the one that did it? It doesn't look anything like the photos you showed me first. How do I know that you were actually going to prosecute this person and do what was right for people? I don't believe that you're going to do anything right by people. So at the end of the day, no, I don't think that him taking justice into his own hands is the proper way to deal with things. But at the end of the day, they never do anything proper by us. All they do is help these people skate on by, get away with it, pour more money in their pocket, and they don't care how many lives, families that they destroy in their path. This is the most common story. Always. Whether it's lithium in an area, whether it's an area that they wanted where a train crashed and everybody, they didn't need to burn the chemicals. Like, go through the list. Go through the list. There's hundreds of them. They don't give a shit about us. They don't. They don't care. They never will care. And I guess that's where everybody goes, well, maybe I can deal. I do. Something needs to be done. And the thing that needs to be done is this guy needs to be taken off the face of the planet because he is corrupt and he keeps helping them destroy families. And my parents are part of it. So fuck them too. Right? Crazy, dude. Crazy shit this week. Actually, this year has just been crazy. Let's see. Russia may be working on an unprecedented weapon that could trigger World War III. I mean, what are we talking about, everybody? What the hell did he do? A Russian satellite, Cosmos 2553, is raising concerns amongst U.S. officials about a potential new space weapon. The officials told New York Times that the satellite, currently in a high radiation graveyard orbit, may be carrying a dummy warhead and testing components for a device that could destroy numerous satellites. Cosmos 2553 was launched 19 days before President Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion of Ukraine on February 24th, 2022. The satellite orbits Earth every 2 hours in an area rarely used due to high radiation. Russia's Ministry of Defense said that the spacecraft was equipped with newly developed onboard instruments and the systems for testing them under conditions for exposure to radiation and heavy charged particles. However, the U.S. officials suspect persecutor to unprecedented weapon capability of obliterating hundreds or thousands of crucial satellites. So basically, Putin launched a satellite with a nuclear warhead on it, and he is threatening to, well, set it off and blow up everybody's satellite in space. This doesn't sound like a very good idea. It just doesn't. But how did he get out of the firmament? Or, like, I don't know. I don't know, everybody. Is it actually in space? Are our satellites actually tied to balloons that are just out of sight? Or are they just sitting at the top of the firmament along with the rest of the balloons that I let go of when I was a kid? I have no idea anymore. I just don't. But, excuse me, it does seem like everybody is very worried about this satellite being in space. And to kind of get a little bit better of an idea, I did find a video kind of going over this because I really wanted to understand what this could be doing. And again, I'm going to play the video, but how did they get a camera up here? How are they doing this? Because every time I see a picture in space, it's a picture of Earth. You know, it's looking down on Earth. And satellites are closer, and the Earth is in the distance. But how is that camera getting charged? How is it still capable of doing it? You know, I'm telling you, I got lots of questions, man, because it just doesn't seem feasible anymore. And if you lie to me about food, George Washington, Christopher Columbus, and everything else, why wouldn't you lie to me about this? But everybody's argument is, oh, yeah, the whole world's lying about it, right? Maybe. They lied to us for decades about aliens, and now they're all like, oh, those are real. So how long before we get to the point where they're like, yeah, guys, there's no space. It's all underwater. It's all Hollywood. I mean, come on. We'll figure it out.
US preparing for Russian attack on its satellites, Cosmos 2576 approached the American satellites. Russia is escalating the situation in space, and after several years of testing, it launched a satellite into orbit that could pose a threat to American spacecraft. The US Space Command is preparing for a possible attack, said its head, General Stephen Whiting, writes the Moscow Times. Launched on May the 16th, the Cosmos 2576 satellite was sent into low Earth orbit and brought into operational condition, Whiting said, speaking at the Mitchell Institute for Aerospace Studies. And if you look at where the satellite is located, on the same plane as the American National Security Satellite, it doesn't seem random, the commander noted. This arrangement allows the Russian device to observe the American satellite, track it, and potentially interfere with its operation, Space News explains. Cosmos 2576, according to the Pentagon, is a counter-space weapon believed to be capable of attacking other satellites in low Earth orbit, U.S. Defense Department spokesman Pat Ryder said days after its launch. At the same time, Deputy U.S. Representative to the UN for Special Affairs Robert Wood spoke about this during a discussion in the Security Council of the Russian resolution banning the deployment of any weapons in outer space. Russian Permanent Representative Vasily Nebenzia responded by saying that he didn't even understand what Wood was talking about. Cosmos 2576 was launched on the night of May the 17th from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome, along with other civilian vehicles that were distributed in other orbits. Such a mixed military-civilian cargo came as a complete surprise. I've never seen anything like this from Russia before. Analyst Bart Hendricks, who has long studied the Russian space program, told Reuters Cosmos 2576 was launched into an orbit identical to the American reconnaissance satellite USA 314, the agency noted, citing public data from the U.S. Space Command on the location of the satellites. Russia tested similar anti-space weapons in 2017, 2019 and 2022, and now they appear to have put one into orbit in working order, Whiting said. The United States takes such activity seriously and is working to respond to potential attacks on its spacecraft, he added. Rising tensions in space come amid US allegations that Russia is developing space-based nuclear weapons. Moreover, on February the 5th, 2022, it launched Cosmos 2553, designed to test components for a potential nuclear-capable anti-satellite weapon, US officials told the Wall Street Journal in May. At the end of April, Moscow vetoed a UN resolution that would have confirmed the ban on the deployment of nuclear weapons in space. The document calls on countries to comply with the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, under which all parties agreed not to place in orbit around the Earth objects carrying nuclear weapons or any other weapons of mass destruction.
I mean, we're gonna have nuclear war everywhere. It's just gonna be crazy, man. I mean, do we have to worry about nuclear war right now, like always? So if it doesn't happen in space, it's gonna, you know what I mean? It's just like it's the go-to threat now. It is the go-to threat, and it is kind of worrying, right? It's worrying because, I mean, it is literally so devastating, and you're not talking about millions of people dying. You're talking, what is there, 6.67 billion people on the planet. You're looking at least 1 billion people if this thing really pops off. And, I mean, that is just insane and almost unimaginable to think about. It really is. Tartaria was everywhere, and history as we know it has been totally fabricated. This is what I'm talking about, everybody. History is fake. Everything is fake. They told us all lies. This is the flat out truth by the flat earther. And I mean, take this with a grain of salt, everybody. Is it possible that I'm wrong? Of course it is. I'm just having fun. I'm investigating and asking questions. I don't think anything that I say could be true, but sometimes the stuff that I'm saying that I don't believe is true turns out to be true. So is it a coincidence, or is it because I'm not listening to them anymore? I think it's because I'm not listening anymore, and I'm thinking for myself. But let's check this out, because I thought this was interesting.
Tartaria was everywhere, and history as we know it has been completely fabricated. At first, we thought maybe the Dark Ages were just unclear, but it turns out they were invented to push a lot of events further into the past. We realized that it wasn't just small parts of history that might be wrong, everything was made up. One fascinating thing is the architecture we find around the world. In almost every city, you'll find ancient Gothic-style buildings with incredibly intricate designs. People look at them and say, oh, that's just how they built things back then. But some of these buildings are absolutely stunning. Think about it. If we lived in a feudal society where everyone was working just to survive, how would anyone have had the time, resources, or motivation to build something so elaborate and that worked the way they did? These buildings weren't just practical structures like free energy generators. They were artistic expressions. They were built to be functional and beautiful, to celebrate what was being created. But we don't build like that anymore. The complexity and beauty of these structures are clues that we didn't live in the same pay-to-survive system we're trapped in now. Tartaria was a global civilization, incredibly advanced and powered by free energy, likely based on etheric energy. It existed up until about 200 or 250 years ago. Estimates place its early origins around the mid-17th century, and its destruction came shortly after. They've been lying to you all along.
I mean, yeah, we've all been lied to. Everything has been covered up. I do think there were giants. I think that those giants and this lost civilization that they are searching for right now, especially Graham Hancock, was real. It existed. And we coincided with them until we didn't. So, I mean, it's not that far-fetched, everybody, because, I mean, if they're going to lie to us about food and space and anything else, aliens, why wouldn't they lie to us about an ancient civilization that they don't want you to know about because it doesn't fit in the history book? It doesn't work with their timeline that they want us to believe. I think humans roamed the earth with dinosaurs And I believe that humans have been here a lot fucking longer than they ever want us to believe. Now, I thought this was really cool. This is Elon Musk. It looks like a futuristic city. I just thought the animation and this AI is, I think this is AI generated by his AI, and I don't remember the name of it. But he came up with a newer AI. He calls it something, and I can't remember what it is, but I do believe this is a movie or a short clip made by that, or maybe this is what he thinks cities will look like in the future. Let me see here. What am I talking about? All right, so let me put this on the screen for everybody. I can't play anything because it's got music playing, but it looks like this is in China. It's like a drone flying over. This is a bridge people walk over, and as you're looking over the bridge, you can see these monstrous buildings with all these bridges connecting to each other, the lights glowing, everything. This is what I believe a 15-minute city is. So the 15-minute cities, if you don't know anything about them, it's a city where everything is within 15 minutes. You don't have to have a car. You don't have to pay for transportation. You have a job right next door to where you live. You don't have to do anything or go anywhere. You get everything right here. So at the end of the day, that's crazy because, again, it involves the one world order. It involves you not having to do anything, and you will have nothing, and you will be happy. And I think that's what he was basically getting at there. Let's see here. Now, this I thought was really cool. I can't make it any bigger, but let's listen to what she has to say. This is on Instagram. This is men_C_men_smile original audio right here.
I think men are more likely to have bizarrely unrealistic expectations. I have so many girlfriends who are highly accomplished, highly educated, great people, and just wonderful women. And the dating pool is absolutely brutal. It is entirely unclear to me that it's like, why are there men not jumping to want to date them? So,
well, Alicia, those are not bizarre and unrealistic expectations. Because reality is that ultimately men want to build a family, okay? And most men don't want to be with an accomplished and educated woman because those women are entitled, demanding, and a pain to deal with. Even different studies will tell you that that's the case. So most of your accomplished and educated friends are very likely to end up with a cat instead of a family, just like Whoopi.
Yo, shout the season, man. Absolutely hilarious. Oh my God. Like, yes. Yeah, that's how it's gonna be. Oh, you know what? I did click back at the end of that. You know what? I'm gonna do this.
Because reality is that ultimately men want to build a family, okay? And most men don't want to be with an accomplished and educated woman because those women are entitled, demanding, and a pain to deal with. Even different studies will tell you that that's the case. So most of your accomplished and educated friends are very likely to end up with a cat instead of a family, just like Whoopi.
Yo, shout the season, man.
I think men are more likely to have bizarre.
Oh my God, man. I mean, so true. I hate Whoopi Goldberg. I hate The View. I think all of them should be taken off the air. It's such a garbage show. Their opinions are garbage and constantly defending pieces of crap is all they do. Every time my wife watches it, or at least has it on the TV, I don't know if she's actually watching it, but at the end of the day, man, I listen to it every now and then, and I'm like, these are the craziest opinions I've ever heard. I mean, it's just always defending, you know, Biden was such a great person, and this Democrat's great, and it's just all bullshit and one-sided agenda viewpoint. I do like how sometimes they have a Republican on there and they barely get to get 2 words in. You know, everybody's stomping on them before they get to finish what they were saying. So I just thought that was so funny because it's true. Unfortunately, if you want to be an accomplished woman and an independent woman out there today, well, why do you think men are the way they are? Because we've been that, right? So we want, everybody to be equal, and it comes with all of its parts. Most men who have jobs where they travel and they do all these things, and yeah, they might get married to somebody and have a family, but they're always having another family in an area that they travel to on the regular, or they're cheating on their wives because they're traveling for months on end, or whatever it is. So those are the things that you're going to come across. So if you want to be an independent woman who does that, well, you're probably going to follow almost the same protocol, which will leave you alone and single, which, like a lot of those really, really rich, famous CEOs and stuff like that, they're hiding a lot of shit in the basement. You know what I mean? Like they're not all just doing their day in, day out and going home to their family at night. No, they're out in Japan and doing these things, and they're like, well, I'm in Japan, like, so it all correlates. If that's what you want, that's usually the outcome of that, because you are divulging your entire life to work. And that's the only thing that's important to you. So if that's the only thing that's important to you, family is much more difficult to have, but that shouldn't be a bad thing. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing that they are surprised that men aren't jumping at them. Well, you have no need for me, right? Because as a man, the role is you're supposed to be the one that, does the heavy lifting, that takes care of the finances, that takes care of the house, that takes care of the family, puts food on the table. Like, you're supposed to be the provider. Well, if you are with somebody who's already a provider, kind of flips the role. Some men don't feel comfortable in that role because it makes them feel like a woman in a sense. You know what I mean? So really not surprising. I don't think it's not true, but goddamn, absolutely funny. Now, this is very interesting, and we're just going to let this play. This is Rosa Montosa original audio. All right, so let's hit play on this one here.
You're all attached with a silver cord, our spirit, which is the real you, and the body the entire time you're alive. Because every night you go out of your body. Everybody does. The spirit, the real you, imagine how bored it would get sitting around waiting for the body to wake up. The body's what gets tired. The real you doesn't. And so it's sitting around waiting for you to get up. Okay, let's get on with it. As soon as the body goes to sleep, you're out of there, having all kinds of adventures. You're going to the spirit side, you're talking to your guides and your masters and getting instructions. Or you're off anywhere you want to go in the world, seeing people, looking in on them, whatever you want to do. Or you can go off to other planets, other dimensions. You do this every night, but you don't know it because, well, you're not supposed to know it for one thing. It'd be too confusing. But the only way you remember is if you have dreams of flying or dreams of strange, unfamiliar places. So we're off having all these adventures every night. And in toward morning, when it's time to get back to the body, we are connected with the silver cord the whole time. You're reeled in, so to speak. They reel you back in to where you're back in the body again. Then the body has to wake up and you're ready to continue your daily work. So whenever you actually die, you go through this energy source. At that time, the silver cord is severed immediately by the energy. When that happens, you cannot return to the body again. That's the spark of life. Once that spark of life has left the body, it begins to deteriorate immediately. You ever watch someone die, you know something's gone, it's left. At that point, the body begins to deteriorate. Then you're on the other side and you cannot come back. The only way you have ghosts, you have people coming back and giving messages, apparitions, but it's not the actual person because they can't come back into the body again. So once you get over there, you're met with great love. There is no hell.
Oh.
There isn't. I've done thousands and thousands of cases. There is no hell. Hell is an invention of the church, and you can see why. It was never in the Bible. It's something has been invented. There is no hell. A loving God would not do that to people. You are allowed to make all the mistakes you want. You're allowed to come back and do it again and again till you get it right. They don't punish you just because you make a mistake and throw you into an oven. It doesn't work that way. You have to realize you have made mistakes. Earth is a school. But it's a school, you come here to learn lessons, but it's a school where you can't skip a grade, but you can have to repeat a grade. You don't get it right. You have to come back and do it again until you get it right. You can't go from kindergarten to college. It's impossible. You have to learn the lessons, and the lessons are not easy.
I mean, what? All right, so this video was on TikTok at DWGOFEARTH. All right, I want to make sure I give everybody credit. That's wild, everybody. I don't know if that's true. I don't. Because I don't want it to be true. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want my spirit going anywhere. I don't want more things to do. I don't. When this is over, I want it to be over. I want blackness. I want to be done. I don't want anything else. The fact that everybody wants to continue on past this blows my mind. Why? What is the point? Don't you just want to be done at the end of the day? Haven't we done enough? Haven't they put us through enough? But I guess a lot of people out there really hang on to this because they really, really, really want to believe there's something more than what we're doing right now. I'm hoping there's a lot less to do after this. But on that note, everybody, we are out of here. Yes. I just want to say that I want to give credit to Elijah and Miguela for a couple of those videos. Thank you so much. I try to use as many as I can, try to get through as much as I can. I've definitely gone a little bit long in the tooth on this one as usual. But again, I thank all of you out there for subscribing. I thank you for your support. Remember, if you're new, to subscribe. talkinwithtopher@gmail.com is the official email of the podcast. Send an audio, video, or type it out if you want your opportunity to be on the podcast or to tell your story. And then, of course, don't forget about the Linktree link. It's in the description below the video where you'll find all the links to this episode. And that's the easiest way to find everything TWT. All right. And I just appreciate all of you. This is the week before Christmas, so good luck to you. Hope you got all your Christmas shopping done. And next week's episode is one worth waiting for. So as soon as that drops the day after Christmas, go and check it out. I'm very excited for it. It is a guest episode. Another thing I want to do real quick, if you're in jiu-jitsu or you're doing anything and this is your best defense soap, all right? Use it. Wipes. It's great. It has good bacteria in it, and it's what I used all over myself before I sat down because I did let everybody know that I just got out of jiu-jitsu this morning, and I didn't want you to think I was just sitting here in all of that grossness. No, I use defense soap. I use defense wipes, and it keeps my body clean from staph and all kinds of stuff. So go and get yourself some. On that note, everybody, I hope you have an enjoyable rest of your Thursday. I hope you have a great weekend. And as always, I will talk to you later.